The movie begins in a dimly lit interrogation room. Sitting at the table is a man named Hutch, battered, bloodied, and bruised. His clothes are torn, his face swollen, and his body shows clear signs of a brutal fight. He lights up a cigarette with trembling hands as two police officers sit across from him. They begin questioning him about what happened, about who he is, and why he has caused so much chaos. Hutch doesn't respond much, but in his silence, his pain and confidence say more than words could. And from this very scene, the story flashes back to reveal how an ordinary man's life spiraled into extraordinary violence. We are introduced to Hutch's everyday life, which looks painfully normal. He is a husband and father, living in the suburbs with his wife Becca and their two children, a teenage son named Blake and a younger daughter named Sammy. On the surface, Hutch appears to be a regular man with no ambition, a man stuck in an endless cycle of repetition. His days are predictable to the point of monotony. Every morning he wakes up, makes coffee, takes out the trash, goes for a jog, works at his father-in-law's small metal fabrication company, and then returns home to the same routine. But despite having a family, Hutch receives little respect or recognition in his own household. His wife Becca has grown distant over the years. She is polite but cold, and there's a wall between them that seems to have been building for a long time. His teenage son Blake openly disrespects him, viewing Hutch as weak, spineless, and unworthy of admiration. To Blake, his father is a loser. The only bright spot in Hutch's life is his daughter Sammy, who adores him deeply. She is his emotional anchor, the one person who sees him with unconditional love. Hutch, in return, cherishes her more than anything else in the world. Life drags on like this, dull and lifeless, until one fateful night changes everything. While Hutch and his family are asleep, strange noises echo through the house. Hutch realizes that intruders have broken in. He carefully goes downstairs and discovers that two masked thieves have entered their home. One of them points a gun at Hutch, demanding money. Hutch freezes, unsure of what to do. Instead of attacking or resisting, he complies, lowering his phone when they demand it. The thieves grab what little money they can find and notice Hutch's wristwatch. When they attempt to steal it, Hutch notices a tattoo on the woman's hand. Just then, Blake rushes into the room and tackles one of the intruders. For a brief moment, it looks like father and son will fight back together, but Hutch intervenes, not to help Blake, but to stop him. He urges his son to back off, fearing the thieves might shoot. One of the burglars punches Blake hard, leaving him injured. Hutch just stands there, doing nothing, until the intruders escape. The humiliation sinks deep. Blake glares at his father with disappointment and disgust, calling him a coward. To Blake, this night proves what he has always believed. His father is weak and useless. When the police arrive, they ask Hutch the standard question: "Is everyone safe?" That simple phrase rattles Hutch. He replays the moment in his mind, his son fighting back, himself standing frozen, unable to protect his family. Guilt eats him alive. He knows he should have acted, should have defended his home. Instead, he let his son take a punch and his family lose faith in him. The next morning, the shame only deepens. Neighbors gossip about how they would have handled the intruders. Even Hutch's father-in-law and brother-in-law mock him. His brother-in-law, Charlie, even gives him a revolver and tells him that next time, he should shoot without hesitation. Hutch quietly pockets the gun but doesn't respond. He appears passive, but inside, something is shifting. His past instincts, long buried, are beginning to stir. Later that day, Hutch learns that the burglars also stole Sammy's bracelet, a bracelet she cherished dearly. This discovery hits Hutch harder than anything else. His daughter's sadness awakens a rage he can no longer suppress. Determined to track down the thieves, Hutch visits his father, David Mansell, a retired FBI agent. From him, Hutch retrieves an old badge and a firearm. He then begins his hunt, searching tattoo parlors around the city for any clue about the woman's hand tattoo. At one shop, Hutch shows the tattoo sketch, but the workers dismiss him. Then, one of them notices a faint tattoo on Hutch's wrist. Suddenly, their attitudes shift. They panic. One man even rushes into a back room and locks the door, terrified. Hutch's tattoo identifies him as someone dangerous, someone whose reputation clearly precedes him. This is the first hint that Hutch is not just an ordinary man, but someone with a violent, hidden past. Eventually, Hutch tracks the burglars down. He bursts into their small apartment, violently subduing the woman and pointing a gun at her. He demands the return of his watch and Sammy's bracelet. Trembling, the woman gives back the watch but insists she doesn't have the bracelet. Just as Hutch is about to press harder, he hears the sound of a child crying. Looking around, he discovers that the thieves' infant is seriously ill, attached to a breathing machine. The truth hits him. The couple stole not out of greed, but desperation, to pay for their child's medical treatment. Hutch freezes, conflicted. His anger softens, and instead of killing them, he leaves. He walks away, frustrated, his fury unresolved, still burning inside. On the bus ride home, however, fate gives him an outlet. A group of drunk, rowdy men board the bus. They are loud, aggressive, and begin harassing a young woman. Hutch watches silently at first, but the tension inside him finally snaps. He tells the bus driver to step off the bus, then locks the doors behind him. Turning to the drunken thugs, he mutters to himself, "I'm gonna fuck you up." What follows is a brutal, bone-crushing brawl. Hutch unleashes years of suppressed violence, skillfully dismantling the group with his bare hands. Though outnumbered, he fights with precision, resilience, and terrifying efficiency. The battle leaves him bloodied and stabbed, but the thugs are left broken, unconscious, and near death. For the first time in years, Hutch feels alive. But this act of violence sets off a chain reaction. Among the beaten men on the bus was the younger brother of a powerful Russian crime lord named Yulian Kuznetsov. When Yulian learns of the assault, he rushes to the hospital, only to watch his brother die from his injuries. Enraged, Yulian vows revenge. His men find Hutch's wallet and credit card left behind on the bus, giving them his identity. Meanwhile, Hutch's half-brother Harry, who works in intelligence, warns him over the phone. He tells Hutch that Yulian is ruthless and dangerous, a man who wipes out not just his enemies but their entire families. He urges Hutch to run, to protect his family before it's too late. But Hutch knows it's already too late. Violence has found him again. After the brutal bus fight, Hutch returns home, battered but strangely at peace. For the first time in years, he feels alive. But peace does not last long. The storm is already on its way. That night, Hutch receives a call from his half-brother Harry, who warns him about Yulian Kuznetsov, the Russian mob boss whose younger brother Hutch killed on the bus. Harry stresses how ruthless Yulian is, a man who doesn't just kill his enemies but destroys their families as well. Hutch realizes danger is closing in on him. He looks at his wife and children and makes a decision. They must leave before Yulian's men arrive. The next morning, Hutch tries to maintain a calm front. He tells Becca and the kids that they should go on a short vacation to Italy, just for a while. Though confused, Becca agrees, sensing something serious behind her husband's suggestion. But before they can leave, Hutch notices vehicles approaching his home. Armed men, Yulian's soldiers, are already here. Quickly, Hutch rushes his wife and children into the basement, telling them not to come out no matter what happens. His tone is serious, commanding, unlike the man they've known all these years. For the first time, Becca sees a side of Hutch she never imagined existed. As the armed gang invades the house, Hutch switches into survival mode. He moves like a trained professional, taking out multiple attackers with ruthless precision. For a moment, it seems like he might single-handedly wipe them all out. But then, one man sneaks behind him and shocks him with a taser. Hutch collapses, unconscious. The mobsters load his limp body into the trunk of a car, planning to deliver him to Yulian. But Hutch is not finished yet. Regaining consciousness, he notices a grenade inside the car. With cold determination, he pulls the pin, filling the car with smoke. The gangsters panic as the car crashes violently. Crawling out of the wreckage, Hutch executes the surviving attackers. When asked who he is, Hutch finally responds with the chilling words, "I'm nobody." Back at home, Hutch frees his family from the basement. He knows now that they can no longer stay here. He insists that Becca take the children and leave immediately, promising he'll come back when it's safe. Though frightened, Becca obeys. For the first time, she trusts Hutch's judgment without question. Left alone, Hutch reflects on his past. Once long ago, he wasn't a simple family man. He worked as an auditor for intelligence agencies, a special kind of operative, called in only when someone was too dangerous to arrest or prosecute. Hutch was the last face criminals ever saw. He was precise, efficient, and merciless. For years, he carried out assassinations and eliminations, until one day, during a mission, something changed. He had been ordered to kill a man, but the target begged for mercy, claiming he had turned his life around, that he had a family now and wanted a second chance. For the first time in his career, Hutch spared someone. Later, he secretly checked on that man and found the story was true. The man had changed, living happily with his family. That moment made Hutch realize that life could be different. that people could change. Wanting to live as a normal man, Hutch retired, married Becca, and built a family. But the cost of burying his true self was years of emptiness and dissatisfaction. Now, forced back into the world he abandoned, Hutch accepts who he truly is. After sending his family away, Hutch sets his house ablaze, destroying everything inside, including the corpses of Julian's men. His old life as an ordinary husband and father is gone. From here on, it's war. Meanwhile, Julian discovers his soldiers are dead and his money stash has been burned to ash by Hutch. Furious, he calls for all his men and prepares for battle. Hutch, however, has already planned his next move. Hutch arms himself with weapons, explosives, and traps, and heads to the very place Julian controls, his club and money launder base. Storming inside, Hutch eliminates dozens of Julian's men in brutal combat. Then, he enters a vault filled with cash, millions of dollars belonging to Julian. Without hesitation, Hutch douses the money with gasoline and sets it on fire. Flames roar, consuming Julian's fortune. When Julian arrives, he is stunned to see his empire burning before his eyes. In the club, Hutch and Julian finally come face to face. Hutch sits calmly at a table with a bomb in front of him, covered by a cloth. He warns Julian's men that if anyone approaches, he will detonate it, killing them all. The room tenses as Hutch looks Julian in the eyes. "I built a house with years of hard work," Hutch tells him. "But I had to burn it down because of you. So, I decided to destroy everything you've built as well. Now we're even. You stay away from me, and I'll stay away from you." Julian listens quietly, but rage brews within him. Hutch leaves, but Julian's pride will not allow him to walk away. Furious at the destruction of his fortune, he rallies his men to hunt Hutch down. The showdown leads to the very factory where Hutch works. But Hutch is ready. He has turned the entire building into a fortress filled with traps and weapons. His allies arrive too, his half-brother Harry, armed with a sniper rifle, and his father David, who gleefully joins the fight with a shotgun. For the first time, Hutch fights side by side with his family. As Julian's army storms the factory, Hutch, Harry, and David unleash a brutal counterattack. Explosives detonate, gunfire echoes, and the traps Hutch set claim dozens of lives. One by one, Julian's men fall. At one point, Harry is shot, forcing the group to retreat behind cover. Low on ammunition, they prepare for the worst. Then, Julian himself steps forward with a heavy machine gun, determined to finish Hutch once and for all. But Hutch is not done yet. Grabbing a bulletproof glass shield, Hutch mounts the same bomb he carried earlier onto it, and begins advancing toward Julian under heavy gunfire. Bullets ricochet off the glass as Hutch closes in. With steely determination, he pushes forward until he's face to face with Julian. Hutch then slams the bomb onto Julian, detonating it. The explosion rips through the room, obliterating Julian in a storm of fire and shrapnel. When the smoke clears, Hutch is still alive, though bruised and exhausted. His father and brother stand beside him, proud. The war is over. Julian is dead. Later, Hutch calls his wife to tell her everything is fine now, that it's finally safe for them to be together again. Becca listens, realizing the man she married is far more complex than she ever knew, but also the protector she and their children truly needed. The film circles back to the opening scene, where Hutch is once again in an interrogation room. The police officers question him, but before he can answer, the phone rings. It's their superior, ordering Hutch's release immediately. Though the officers are confused, they obey, realizing Hutch is not someone to be kept in custody. Soon after, Hutch and Becca are shown touring a new house. The realtor asks what kind of property they're looking for. Hutch's only concern is whether the house has a large basement, implying that he is preparing for whatever might come next. In the final scene, Hutch's father David and brother Harry are seen driving with a trunk full of weapons. They exchange knowing smiles, ready for the next time Hutch calls for them. Because deep down, they all know this life isn't over. Violence will find them again. And with that, the film ends. Closing narration style. So, this is the story of Hutch Mansell, the man who seemed like nobody. A man overlooked, underestimated, dismissed even by his own family. But beneath the quiet exterior lived a past too dangerous to ignore. When pushed, when cornered, Hutch showed the world that he wasn't nobody at all. He was someone everyone should fear.